losing sleep while driving in the backseat. What's left of me? Drowning in what feels just like an ocean. Negativity is getting closer. Hard to keep the heat when it gets cold. You know, sometimes everything just gets hard. Sometimes everything just gets harder. Feeling like I'm missing part. Things just keep on getting much darker. Even when I'm down in the low, I remember what you were saying. Sometimes all you need is a spark. Maybe just a better kind of bitter. Lose gravity, I'm swimming in the quicksand. Up to my knees. Keep losing sleep.
At least there's that.
To please. Drowning in what feels just like an ocean. Negativity is getting closer. Hard to keep the heat when it gets colder. You know, sometimes everything just gets hard. Sometimes
Oh wow, right as I was finishing up my fruit salad, about to make my eggs, the power cut, but I'm not going to be able to make my scrambled eggs. Oh my gosh. So I guess I'm just going to have to eat.
think about the stuff we play. How I'd rather do that instead.
Me now just setting all my goals for the day work-wise. These are the work goals or intentions, if you will. I have to draft head, so that's my most significant task of the day. And
On the top of my lungs, baby, ooh, think about the stuff we planned. How I'd rather do that instead. I keep screaming out loud.
okay guys, I'm done getting ready. It's literally starting to rain as I'm talking, but I'm just wearing this top from Woolworths that I've just cuffed at the sleeves, these baggy jeans from ASOS, belt from Woolworths, and these shoes are from, I think, Superbalist a long time ago. Not so sure. That's what they look like. And it's a Friday, that's why I'm going for jeans, but I hate wearing jeans at work. But yeah, what's a girl to do?
Going up. Doors closing.
Make the disclaimer that there is a difference between studying and reading, just as there's a difference between studying and cramming. Okay, so what I'm talking about now is reading. So reading for understanding, focused reading. Now you could bump that up if you keep repeating that reading, and that is studying. And if you just have made notes on what you've read and now you just want to just memorize repetitively all that knowledge, that's cramming. Okay, so I'm talking about reading for understanding. You can do this as a student, you can do this as a pupil, you can do this as a candidate or a candidate legal practitioner, I think they're called nowadays, CAs. You can do that for your job, be that as an academic or as a lawyer. So my first tip is to Google the Pomodoro Technique. The Pomodoro Technique basically means you read for 25 minutes, you take a 5-minute break, you read for 25 minutes, you take a 5-minute break. That's the traditional Pomodoro Technique. The way that I do it, I do either 30-minute intervals or I'll do 40-minute intervals. So read for 30 minutes, take a 5-minute break, just get some water, read for 30 minutes again, like that. That gives you the capacity to take breaks. And so because you're taking breaks, you're doing it for longer. Whereas if you sat at the same place for that same amount of time, so let's say you're doing it for 2 hours, if you sat in place for 2 straight hours versus me, who every 20 minutes has gotten up to just get a stretch, drink something, take a deep breath, come back to it, I will have more stamina to go, to go further than a person that's been sitting just like that for 2 hours. Apart from the health situation where it's just like you're sitting down for 2 hours and that's not really healthy, it's just that monotonous or that monotony that you snap out of when you take that break. That's really good for you. So Pomodoro technique, taking those little bursts of breaks in between reading. While I'm on this point, if you have a long or a huge record to read, I usually will break that up into sections. So if it's a long affidavit, I'll read the first portion first, or like the first 10 pages, then the next 10 pages, then the next 10 pages, instead of trying to read the entire thing at once. Or if it's a long judgment, I'll do the same thing. I'll read the facts first, and then I'll read the issues and the application of the law separately. So try and break up what you have to read over and above this Pomodoro technique. Can be broken down into 2.1 and 2.2 because it all revolves around what I think it's James Clear calls environment design. Basically, prime yourself for success. Design your environment in all aspects, and I'll explain the aspects that I'm talking about now as much as you can. You guys have noticed every time I leave my office, I have to clean my desk. Every time you see me video my home office at home, it's clean, but it's also very specifically organized because those things are the things that I use when I first sit down, that I reach for, so my environment is primed or designed for my success. The second thing, or the 2.2, would be the environment design for me is music. Ever since I was in high school, when they used to do the Better Study Kit, do you guys remember that? That's when I first learned about classical music and its effect on your concentration levels. And so whether it's piano classical chill, classical concentration, classical music for studying, whatever the case may be, I will always have one like every 6 months, and that's the same playlist I will use over and over and over again. That trains your mind that immediately that music starts playing, it knows it has to focus, it has no choice. So environment design is really, really important. Look up the concept from James Clear's Atomic Habits, but it's a concept that's been known, as I'm talking about the Better Study Kit now, for ages and ages and ages. So have specific music, and this music cannot be like thump music. You will not concentrate. I know a lot of people like to lie to themselves and say, I can study with this. No. You can't. Don't lie to yourself. Don't do this. So that is my point number 2. Is to have good supplements or good vitamins that you take. Good ones are things like slow mag is good, adaptogens are good. Some people need zinc like me. If you suffer from a lot of fatigue, I used to suffer from a lot of fatigue, particularly in varsity. I used to think it's just me. Meanwhile, it was an iron deficiency, and so immediately when I got onto iron, I was able to just get my energy levels back up. The same, I think in high school, we used to be told to eat spinach, and I never used to understand why it gave me so much energy, only to find it's the iron. I was iron deficient. So look into what supplements you need to take for your energy levels to increase, or just what supplements could help you out. Supplements are the best. Also try things like cod liver oil or omega-3s, fish supplements like that. Those help a lot of people out as well, but because I eat a lot of fish in my diet currently, I have a good amount of those. The other point for me that used to help was reading out loud, particularly if it's something that I know I don't really understand. I'll just read it out loud, because hearing myself almost third person would help me hear it differently. I don't know, that's for a very small group of people who are auditory listeners or auditory learners. You know, some people are visual learners, some people are auditory. In other words, if they can hear it once, they'll remember it forever. Some people, if they see it or if it's visually presented in a visually appealing way, they'll remember it forever. So try and find the type of person that you are and see if auditory listening is for you. Another thing I used to do, particularly with long questions around the house, that's how I discovered I like audiobooks. I would record the long question in a voice note and then put in my earphones and then just walk around the house, just doing chores, listening to myself as I would an audiobook. This was in varsity though. And I would just recall, my memory recall would just be so much better because of that. So try reading out loud. If just focused reading doesn't work for you and you find yourself getting distracted or doodling, try reading out loud. And then final tip is to have a plan before you start reading. This thing of let me see how far I go, let me read and see how far I go. Even if it is leisure reading, just say to yourself, I'm just going to read this chapter. And if when you're done with that chapter, if you go on to the next chapter, great. But your goal for that day was just that chapter. I find a lot of people get overwhelmed because you look at it as, I've got so much to read. But if you're just saying to yourself, I've just got a chapter to read, that's all, then it's actually much more manageable mentally. And the same with, let's say, for example, big textbook that you have to get through, just say, today I'm just doing chapter 3. If I go on to chapters 4, 5, and 6, that's great. But today's work is just chapter 3. And you'll see that you'll breeze through chapter 3 because your brain knows this is coming to an end. It's only this chapter. Same thing for a long question. Same thing for a judgment. Same thing for an essay. Just have a plan and tell yourself, this is exactly what I'm reading today. And you'll see it actually works out better than if you just go in and you say, let me just wing it. Let me see what I can do, how far I can go, and all that. So I hope those tips helped, guys. Let me just go through them again. 1, it's the Pomodoro Technique, reading for a while, taking a break, reading for a while, taking a break. The second is environment design, so music, your space, where you study. Try not to study in bed if you can help it. That's also like the loud music thing. You will think you're getting far, but you're not. You're just making yourself sleepy. So try to read in an upright position at a desk and preferably at the same spot every single time you do it. The same with music, classical music, whatever music you listen to. And then break it up into little chunks. So, you know, just one chapter that day, or just one essay that day, or just 2 judgments that day. And then reading out loud, especially for people who find that they are the type of learner that remembers things easier if they've heard them. Read out loud, read into things, just read out loud. You will read for longer. So, and also the last one, sorry guys, good supplements. Find out if you're deficient in anything. Look into supplements for brain function, optimizing brain function. Things like omega-3s. I'm not a doctor, obviously. All the doctors and the students that follow me and subscribe to me, you can leave it in the comments below for people to know. But things like adaptogens, magnesium, zinc, iron, those are really great supplements to try, and of course consult your doctor on all of this stuff. But yeah guys, that is what helps me, and all the best to you guys who are reading this academic year and also this professional year. So guys, I think having said all of this mouthful, I'm actually going to end the vlog here and go home. I actually think this fish thing sounds really good, so I think I might make some fish when I get home. But thank you so much guys as ever for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.